You know, we really gotta stop meeting like this. Anyway, Pwnery Tinker's in the kitchen on a Sunday morning. What are we doing? Stuffing things. Stick around and I'll show you what it is. So the Taco Bell in my area doesn't make breakfast anymore. Boo. Because I used to like getting breakfast burritos on Sunday mornings. Yay. Well, this is how you do it. Tortillas, cheese, vegetable oil, half an onion, 6 sausages, 2 jalapenos cored out. Oh yeah. 6 eggs. That should make 3 big breakfast burritos. Let me chop all this up and get it in there, and I'll show you how actually quick and easy this is. It only takes 10 minutes, something like that. Let me get started.
2 very boring minutes later.
Okay, so while I got a minute waiting for that to heat up, chopped up my onions, chopped up my jalapenos. Maybe I could have just used one, but I'm gonna use it all anyway. So the next part's actually pretty easy. Just goes in here, stir it up, let this caramelize a bit, let this soften up a bit, and then I took 6 eggs, sprinkled some black pepper in there, whisked it away. That and the chopped sausage, these are pre-cooked. You just warm them up and then you can finish them off in here. So the order will be this caramelized, then this for a minute or 2 just to kind of finish them off and make them a little crunchier. I'll break these up in little pieces in there. And then at the end, you dump in the eggs. Now, the trick to this is obviously temperature control. So I did this just to get really hot. But by the time the eggs go in, this is gonna drop down to about 30%. And that way you can stir the eggs and not overcook them and turn them into rubber. Once all of this is in here together and incorporated, then I'll show you a little trick of a binding agent, and then we'll get to the assembly. This is gonna be a real quick one.
12 seconds later.
Little sizzle ASMR for
you. More moments later.
Okay, so the eggs are in there, the sausage is in there, and as soon as I start seeing white bubbles, I cut the heat down and start stirring it. And in the meantime, while that's doing that thing, take my tortillas, heat up the stove, and then just drop them right on the hot plate and flip them just until they get a little crunchy on the outside. I'm gonna do 3 of them and just set them aside, and then we'll do the binding agent part here, and then I'll show you final assembly. But so far, I'm only in this about 10 minutes.
1 minute, 37 seconds later.
Okay, so this is after I stirred it for about 2 minutes. Here's the trick. I turned it way down now, but when you first start scooping this with your spoon, you're gonna see that the eggs are stuck to the bottom of the pan. If you had the temperature low enough, it's just barely stuck, and it's okay. Take your spoon and just scrape inside the sides, and what that does is it stirs this and it breaks up all the stuff off the bottom. So if you did it right, your pan will be clean underneath. I'm trying to push this with one hand. Anyway, the point is the pan will be clean underneath because you don't want it to get stuck and burned in there. See that? So I just kept pushing it towards the middle and then cleaning up the insides of the bottom of the pan, and then eventually you get to this. So once we get to here, then it's a matter of, before I assemble, how do I start making a sauce for this and binding it? And the trick is mayonnaise. I know it sounds weird. I just take 2 teaspoons. Teaspoons? Teaspoons. Take 2 big heaping teaspoons and dump that in there. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to stir all this up. And it's still warm. And this will sort of help it all stick together. Add a little bit of salt to it, like a saltiness to it. And that's really it. But let me do this, and then I'll leave the stove on low while this stays warm. I'll make the tortillas, and then I'll show you how I do assembly, which is kind of weird, but it works for me. And I would rather have it, you can have it pretty, or you can have it good, or you can have it pretty good. So I'm gonna make it pretty good. You'll see here in a minute.
Later.
Just in case you wanted to see this process, just drop it right on. Now I wait. When you see the tortilla start to bubble and move, that's when you grab it and flip it. And you better be fast because you can burn your little fingers. Let's see, just basically push it around on a hot stove. If you don't have a stove like this, you can just use a pan. That's the incorporated stuff. And that's on super low too. So now this is starting to move. Oh, and I got my mom to agree to eat one because I did make too much. So this will probably make 4 good sized ones now. And if not, I can just portion it out. It's not a big deal. Okay, see how it's starting to bubble here? Grab it and flip it. Like that. You don't want it to get too crunchy because then you can't roll it. But you do want to heat it up a little bit. Push the steam out. It is hot to the touch, so just, do this little number. All right. And before you say it, I know real burritos use corn tortillas, but for breakfast burritos, I use flour. Sunu. Okay, so that one's done. I'm gonna do 3 more, and then I'll show you assembly. I gotta work quickly because that's hot.
A few moments later.
Okay, final assembly time is easy. So I got my tortilla here. This is the one I'm making for my mom since it's 1 plate. So the first thing I do is I grab a bit of cheese and I sprinkle it right down the middle. Don't be stingy with the cheese. This is also a binding agent too. All right, so a little bit of cheese right in the middle, like that. And then comes the magic. Sriracha. That's right, red cock sauce. And basically with this is just a little squiggly line like that. That's all you need. Like it's gonna have just enough heat. And then come over to here, stove on. And I bet the other spoon would probably work better for this job. Move over. Okay, so as you can see, there's not that much of a mess in the kitchen either. So then you take your stuff here, and transfer it right over to here. Obviously it's still hot. I can tell you right now, she's gonna complain that I made this too big. She'll be like, oh, this is too big, I can't eat all this. Yeah, you can. It's time for mom to eat like a man. So here's the other trick. Don't go to the edges. Stop right there. Now because I did the cheese and the binding agent, all I have to do now is roll it. And then because the edges are a little crispy, once I roll it tight, stick it in the microwave for 30 seconds. It'll kind of soften up if you overdid the tortilla slightly, and it'll also keep it together. And then that's really it. I'll show you the picture of the final product. And voila, 1 breakfast burrito. Cheese is just starting to melt a little bit with the hot sauce. Keeps it all together. Nothing's pouring out the side. Hotter than hell. These are the Guerrero large tortillas. I think they're like 13 inches or so. So it's a pretty good sized burrito. This recipe definitely will make 4, maybe 5 if you make them skinny. Anyway, this was Pwnery Tinkers in the Kitchen, breakfast burrito edition, huh? You could still eat like a man. Anyway, hope you enjoyed it. Hope you should try it. And if you're new to my channel, welcome. But if you're a regular here, welcome back. Either way, check out my other playlists and see if my other interests may be of interest to you. Start to finish in plating, maybe 30 minutes tops. I still got to clean the kitchen. Anyway, go eat like a man. We'll see you on the next one.